This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic!
What's going on, Orlando Magic fans?
Oh, I'm frozen here.
You're frozen? That's not means we're live.
Here, we're back.
There you go.
What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back. We are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is August 14th, 2025. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host, Kevin Tucker. Kevin, the schedule is out. It feels like Magic basketball is back. How are we doing?
Feeling great. It's like Christmas morning over here. You know, we got to unbox our presents at, like 3:15 p.m. Eastern time, and been playing with all those toys for the last, 5 hours or so. And yeah, very excited to get to talk with you and to get to talk with everybody in the chat as well about the schedule, man. This is going to be fun.
Really looking forward to this. You and I, we look forward to this every year, but it's like, the season ends and then we have that kind of like, and then we go into this year. It was the Desmond Bane trade and the rebrand and then the draft and free agency and all that kind of settled down. And we went, okay, now we're ready for the schedule. So we've been waiting for this anxiously for, about a month, waiting to get to this point. Comes out today, like you said. We've been pouring all over it, looking forward to breaking it down, talking it over with everybody in the chat. If you're on YouTube, appreciate you hanging out with us here during a special live edition of the show during the off season, but we had to talk about the schedule, which is exactly what we're going to do. So first of all, to start with the release, obviously the Magic and the social media staff put in like a ton of hours all summer long, whether it was from the Desmond Bane trade and then, or I guess starting with the rebrand release into the Desmond Bane trade and the draft and free agency and summer league and all that kind of stuff. So nice and low key, but adorable, and I don't know that we've ever really said that about a schedule release. But the Orlando Magic partnering with, I don't have it in front of me now, it's a local organization that we'll bring up in just a moment here, but had awesome, cute puppies with Jalen Suggs, dogs with a dog, to break down the schedule. Kev, what did you think of that?
That was cute. Like you said, very nice and something different, but obviously for a good cause as well, encouraging people to adopt those puppies or any puppies really that are up for adoption.
PetAlliance.org, by the way, or Pet Alliance Orlando. Sorry.
Perfect. Yeah. So that was very cute. And then I love Jalen's line at the end, saying, this is what we're going to do this year, be like dogs, whatever. That was fun. But yeah, it was cool. They had a couple other videos as well that were entertaining. The one that I enjoyed maybe more than the puppies was I don't know if you saw the silent schedule release one. That one was very entertaining. I enjoyed that one, but all of them were really great.
Appreciate the social media team for that and everything that they do, especially everything they've done all this summer. But usually what we do is we save like the more, not boring, but non-like game-specific pieces of the schedule for like the end of the episode. We thought this year we'd kind of start with that. We're not going to go into like a ton of detail with this kind of stuff, but I do think there are important tidbits of the schedule that, especially you and I, this next one that we always talk about. So we'll start with the schedule, the games by day. So how many Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games do we have? So we have 10 Monday games, 11 Tuesday, 11 Wednesday, 12 on Thursday, 11 on Friday, 11 on Saturday, and 14 on Sunday. Kev, I think this is the most like balanced schedule that we've seen of the last few years when it comes to the games by the day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting to see that. Obviously, the Magic, and this will be a theme you'll hear throughout the night as we're talking, but like the whole like Europe trip kind of changes how this schedule is set up in a lot of different ways, and that kind of throws a wrench in what's typical. But like you said, it is very balanced as far as days of the week. Sunday being the most at 14, Monday being the fewest at 10. But it's gonna be very interesting, and I also do think. We'll talk a lot about the national TV schedule here as we go, but I do think that the whole changing of the national TV landscape this year has impacted the schedule as well, because if you've seen it, there are quote-unquote national TV broadcasts every day of the week, basically in the second half of the season, basically after football season. And so I think that kind of changes how it's not like certain games or certain teams are being pushed just to Tuesday nights or just to Friday nights or whatever. They're now spread out pretty evenly across the whole week, and we see that a little bit with the Magic too. But yeah, it's very interesting.
And like you mentioned, technically 14 games on national TV. There's 3 on NBC and Peacock. November 4th at Atlanta, November 25th at Philadelphia, March 24th at Cleveland, 3 on ESPN and the ESPN app. I'm guessing that's like ESPN Plus.
That's their new app. I don't know if you've heard about it. They're coming out with a new app in October. That's all inclusive.
Well, their current app sucks, so hopefully that one's good.
Yeah.
That would be much appreciated.
Yeah.
November 12th at New York, March 11th versus Cleveland, and April 1st versus Atlanta. 4 on Peacock, which these are the ones that you and I can talk about and hash this out, whether or not we really think that the Peacock games are nationally televised games. But December 1st versus Chicago, January 26th at Cleveland, February 9th versus Milwaukee, and March 16th at Atlanta. And then finally, we have 4 on Amazon Prime, January 15th versus Memphis in Berlin, January 18th at Memphis in London, February 26th versus Houston, and March 7th at Minnesota. All of this, we're getting this from OrlandoMagic.com. No shout out to the team over there. But Kev, 14 national televised games, 10 if you ask me. But what are your thoughts on that, and what are your thoughts on some of these matchups?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, the matchups, the first thing I guess I have to say is 14 nationally televised games. And if I remember off the top of my head, I think only 5 of them are at home, I think. So it's 9 of them on the road, which, that's a little bit of a bummer to not have more home nationally televised games. But regardless, it's still very cool, obviously, to get to have 14, especially jumping up from last year. Oh, well, let me back up. We'll call it 10, just for the sake of what we're talking about here with the whole Peacock thing. Even if it's 10, that is still way more than last year or the last several years, And so that's pretty cool. A lot of big matchups, games we kind of expected when it comes to like the Eastern Conference. It's Cleveland a couple times, New York a couple times. I know Atlanta's a couple times, especially the first NBC game. So that's interesting. But yeah, all in all, very cool, very exciting. And think about it. That first matchup against Atlanta there on November, 4th, I think it is. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the 3rd NBA on NBC broadcast night of the season. That's it. We're one of the first teams to get to experience that, and so pretty exciting. But yeah, it's a whole new era with national TV, and I'm glad the Magic get to be a part of it this year.
Yeah, I am looking forward to, again, like the Peacock stuff. I already have Peacock. I watch a lot of golf on Peacock, so It doesn't bother me all that much. Like, had this been on like Fubo or something, and it's like now another, like, some people are going to be annoyed because they don't already have Peacock, right, obviously. But when I saw the number, and even if you take away the Peacock games, you look at the number 10, if you had asked any of us, even before all the crap about the opening night games and the Christmas Day games, all that kind of stuff, when it's not even the fact that the Magic aren't on it, it's some of the teams that are on it, and the Magic not being there. But even if you would have asked me before that, like, hey, 10 nationally televised games, I would have taken that. So yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised with the number of national televised games that the Magic have. And
especially 3 of them being NBC. Like, that's big time. That's not just like cable TV, cable ESPN, or back in the day, cable TNT. This is over-the-air broadcast, NBC, prime time, 8 o'clock. That stuff, having 3 of those is very exciting. Jonathan, are you okay if we go to the chat real fast and just kind of check in with the people that are hanging out with us? We've got just about 100 of them hanging out live on YouTube and many more over on X. So appreciate you guys being here. We got a lot of familiar faces, people that are here throughout the regular season with the post-game lives. Luis Rosario says, we are starting the season 8-2 in the first 10 games. Let's go, Magic. I think we are going to talk about the opening part of the schedule here in a little bit for sure. It's definitely got a lot of people excited. Nick says, Das ist Magic for life. A little bit of German thrown in there. Obviously a nod to where the Magic are going this season. Matt Harmon says 100-0. I don't know about the math on that. I guess you're talking preseason then, right? Because 82 plus 16 plus 4 preseason. Hey, you can't argue with that math.
It would have to be 83. So
the NBA Cup. Right, the NBA Cup, right? Yeah, you're right. Okay, there we go. Duval says the beginning of a new era. Let's go. K-Will says 55-win season incoming. SNG says bring back Luke Sylvia. Funny you should mention it. Let's bring in to the show now. Oh, just kidding. He's not here. We'll bring him in sometime. Evan says
I
60
thought
wins.
I was getting surprised here.
No, not this time. Not this time. Evan says 60 wins. Love that. Blaze says, I'm going to go to the Magic game at Brooklyn next January. Let's go. Janine says, can the season just go ahead and start already? Absolutely. Chris says, so I might actually be able to attend my first Magic home game. My wife has a conference for work to attend in Orlando in January, so the game on the 11th against the Pelicans looks promising. Very cool. That'd be awesome. Okay, this is an interesting question from TH962. Says, what color should the opening night shirts be? Let's make this our chat question of the night. I guess TH is referring to shirts on seats. You know, like obviously every home opener, we typically do have shirts with the new logo, the new jerseys. Let's make that our chat question. Let us know in the chat. Should we do white shirts, like to match maybe the cool white jerseys and do like a white out? Blue shirts? Should we do like a white and blue section by section, almost like the old blue and white Ignite days? Let us know in the chat. Definitely curious about that. Thank you, TH962, for that. Ace the Baller says, Jalen Suggs and the pups was so cute. Janine says, dogs with our dog. Exactly. Blaze says, can't wait to see Bane cook. Janine says, who's going to the home opener? Jonathan's going. I'm probably going. And
Kevin's going.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go. I'm probably going to go. Sam, our dear friend and fellow host of the Post Game Live, says the silent release video was hilarious. Yes, it was.
Check it out. Where can I find that?
It was on. They posted on Twitter. They posted several videos. It was one of the later ones to see. Our friend Santi is here. He says, yo, pumped to see the schedule. Janine says, ooh, what if MJ is covering Paolo on NBC? That is going to be very interesting to see what Michael Jordan's role is going to be with NBC. I know he's doing kind of like an analyst role, like a special analyst, aka he's not going to be there for every game, but it is going to be pretty cool to see. Last couple thoughts here before we get back into talking about the schedule. Michael says, magical road to glory. That is kind of cool to think about. Like if we think about how special we think the season is going to be, we now got the roadmap for it today, which is pretty cool. Fintane says, tomorrow, Franz versus Şengün game. Any predictions? We might have to talk about that later in the show. See if we can talk a little more Germany basketball.
Germany by 100.
Germany by 100. All right, so we'll stop it there for now, chat. We'll come back to you in a little bit. But yeah, definitely let us know that chat question of the night. What color shirts do you want to see at Kia Center on opening night against the Miami Heat?
What color shirts do you want to see, Kevin?
Oh, man. I think I do lean white on white. Like if the Magic do wear the new white jerseys opening night, matching it with a white out would be pretty sick. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. It is against Miami, and white out is kind of their thing, you know? Not their thing, but like they've been doing it for a very long time.
You know what else used to be their thing?
Winning.
Being the best team in Florida.
That's
and
true.
It's not.
That's
it's not anymore.
But outside of that, yeah, sign me up. I think white on white would be pretty cool. You?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Yeah,
okay.
White on white, white out. First game of the year, like just make that a crazy environment. That's really what I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay, jumping back into some of the less exciting details of the schedule. Games by month. We have 6 in October, 14 in November, 14th in December, 12 in January, 13 in February, 11 in March, and 17. The way that this is, it's 6 in October, 14 in November, 12 in December, 13 in January, 11 in February, 17 in March, which is a lot. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And then 7 games in April. The way that the alignment on that is a little bit off.
Yeah, mine's messed up too.
Yeah. Magic have 14 back-to-backs. Away to away, there are 5. Away to home, there are 2. Those are always some of the tough ones, along with the home to away, which there are also 2. And there are 5 home and home back-to-backs. Looking at the biggest home and road stretches of the season, the longest homestand is 4 games. We have 2 of those stretching from February 5th to the 11th, and then stretching February 26th to March 5th. And then the longest road trip is a 5-game, 9-day road trip spanning October 27th to November 4th. According to PositiveResidual.com, where the next few stats are going to come from, the Magic have the 6th easiest strength of schedule in the NBA. We are assuming that is coming from last year's win percentage, so you kind of have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. The Magic have the 4th most true rest advantages in the league with 11. They also have the 2nd most rest disadvantages in the league with 12, tied with some other teams. They have the second least amount of back-to-back games with 14, like we talked about. But again, that's like there's like 9 or 10 teams in the NBA that share that same number. And then this year, the Magic will be the most traveled team in the NBA, traveling 53,208 miles. Man, I am not doing myself any favors when it comes to this number stuff. But yeah, those are just some fun tidbits about the schedule, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're kind of due to be towards the top of miles traveled when you go to Europe and back. I'm sure that kind of adds to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's always interesting. The rest advantage and disadvantage stuff is definitely interesting. I kind of looked through some of those stats as well. What's that website, Jonathan? The one you got that spreadsheet from? I want to encourage people to go there if they want to see this. What was that called?
Yep, positiveresidual.com.
No, not that one. The other one. The other one. The Excel spreadsheet one.
Oh, that is Big Data Ball.
Big Data Ball. So if you want to see a really good breakdown of like rest advantages and stuff, you can go to Big Data Ball. It is a paid spreadsheet, but if you're a total nerd like us, it wasn't expensive, right? It's pretty cheap to grab that.
No,
so
it's $2.
$2, yeah. So if you really want to nerd out, you can go there for $2 and download that. But it really breaks down like the different rest advantages and disadvantages for each and every matchup across the whole 80. What is right now 80 game season? Obviously, will be 82 after the NBA Cup, or 83, like we talked about. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to like the rest advantages, disadvantages stuff, I don't know. Like, what was very interesting for me, like with, again, going back to the Europe trip, like the Magic have those 2 games over the course of like just under 10 days, basically 2 games in 10 days because of the travel. And so I was concerned that they were going to then condense those days in different ways, which I guess they kind of did. But the fact that we don't have the most back-to-backs, or the fact that that kind of stuff didn't happen, it's always interesting to me how we balance that out. But I think we do have some of the fewest long gaps between games because of that. Like a lot of teams, they'll have several games with 2 or 3 days off. The Magic just don't have that many, obviously, because of that Europe trip. But yeah, it's very interesting. All in all, I mean, obviously, we'll talk about this in a second, but when it comes to the rest advantage, disadvantage stuff, I feel like the Magic are in a pretty good spot. It could be better, could be worse, but I'm pretty happy with it.
The fact that the Magic only have 3 instances this season of 5 games in 7 nights, which I feel like is pretty typical, like for a normal season, with the fact that you're missing so much time given the Europe trip. I mean, we usually find like a good amount to like complain about with this schedule, but all things considered, I'm finding that pretty difficult. Like it's not perfect, but like compared to, what was it last season? You're starting the season on the road, ending the season on the road, and some of the other stuff. Like I'm mostly like 98% pretty happy with the schedule.
I am too. I'm glad you mentioned the 5 and 7s because I have a couple notes about those. They kind of screwed us a little bit with the 5 and 7s, not the number, but the layout as far as who we're playing. So first off, like you said, we have 3 5 and 7s. All 3 opponents that we play in that 5th game in 7 nights have totally normal rest. So like a full day of rest, not 3 and 4, not back to back, not 5 and 7, full rest, like normal, just 1 day of rest. So that kind of sucks. One of them, by the way, is the home game against Oklahoma City. So that makes me angry that we're going to have to play them 5th game in 7 nights while they're fully rested. That bothers me. And then the last little bit with the 5 and 7, we only face one team this season that is also on a 5 and 7. So that one bothers me a little bit. And we're going to be 3 and 4 games when we play them 5 and 7. So it's not like we're going to be on full rest. So that we kind of got screwed there a little bit. But like you said, all in all, I can't really complain too much about the schedule.
So what we're referring to, October 30th, and we'll start like at the very beginning of the schedule in just a second here. We're getting a little bit off the rails. But October 30th, we play Charlotte on the road. That'll be our 5 and 7, our 5th game in 7 nights. Then March 17th at home versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. That'll be our 5th game in 7 nights. And then April 6th versus Detroit. And then the game that Kevin was just referring to, where it's the other team's 5th game in 7 nights, but our 3rd game in 4 nights, is literally the very next game, April 8th versus the Minnesota Timberwolves when we play them at home. So let's just go ahead and start it off here. starting the season October 22nd. I believe that is a Wednesday, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
At home versus the stinking freaking cheating Miami Heat. Both teams fully rested, 3+ days of rest, shockingly, before that game. And the first 3 games of the season here at home.
Wow.
Miami Heat, then on the 24th versus the Atlanta Hawks. And then you have a back-to-back and your third game in 4 nights versus the Chicago Bulls on October 25th. Kind of the opposite of what we saw last year, or I think it was 2 seasons ago, where the first game of the year was at home and then immediately just on the road. Right. Last year,
that was last
year. Than that, but
that was last year. Yeah, because remember the was
first
that
game
last
of the
year?
season was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking 2 seasons ago where we opened against Houston and then went out west.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, they're all run together. You're right.
I think so. They all run together.
But regardless, 3 games at home to start the season. I don't remember the last time that's happened. I'm just racking my brain. It's been we've had some home heavy starts to the season, but not 3 games in a row. That was pretty cool to see. And honestly, Miami is Miami. That's a team with a lot of question marks. But then you turn right around and host Atlanta, the second game of the season. So you get 2 divisional matchups to start the season. Atlanta's supposed to be very good, much improved. However, Atlanta has a lot of new pieces. How are they going to be gelling early in the season? I don't know. We'll see. And then Chicago being the third one of those. You definitely like the Magic starting at home 3 games in a row, 3 Eastern Conference teams, and honestly, 3 winnable games, at least on paper.
Yeah. And then right after that is the longest home or road stretch of the season, that I think it's 9 days from October 22nd or 27th to November 4th, where you're at Philadelphia, at Detroit, at Charlotte, at Washington, and then at Atlanta before you come home on the 7th versus the Boston Celtics. There is a big gap in the schedule right now with a lot of road games on it starting December 7th, and that goes basically to Christmas. But that's where there's going to be potential NBA Cup games, in that stretch. So those still could also be road games, depending on how all of that breaks down. The Vegas games, if they make the semifinal and the final, those are technically neutral, but that will probably be the stretch of the season where they're actually gone that's effectively the longest road stretch of the season there, unless they host, one of those knockout stage games.
Right. Yeah. Which we will. We will be hosting one of those, because we'll be the top seed in the East. No, just kidding. But yeah, that is cool. And also, speaking of that road trip, that's another very generous road trip. Yes, it is 5 games, and yes, it is right off, very near the top of the season, to have what will be probably your longest or maybe tied for longest road trip. But it's all East Coast: Philly, Detroit, Charlotte, Washington, Atlanta. You're staying there Eastern time, all, games against Eastern Conference teams. It's a real chance to make some noise early in the season. And also, even, when we think about playoff seedings and stuff and tiebreakers and stuff, you have a lot of opportunities to get an early jump on some of those teams. Again, Miami, Atlanta, Philadelphia, who knows what they're going to be. Detroit, Atlanta's in there again a second time. So really big stretch, really important stretch, but a stretch that looks like it could be a really good one for the Magic.
Now, as we get, all the way through the schedule and we start talking about our feelings and predictions, win-loss kind of stuff. But Kevin, as I was going through this, I'm just going to warn everybody now. I got a lot of dubs in the W column. But as I was going through this, and I'm like, we should beat this team. We should beat this team. We should beat this. Even we have a rest disadvantage. We should beat this team. We should beat this team, etc. When I start doing that, Kevin, and you look at especially the first, 11, 12, 13, games of 14, maybe games of the season, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, Charlotte, Washington, Atlanta, Boston, Portland. The first 11 games there, and talking about Boston, when you come home from that road trip November 7th, that's an in-season tournament game that you have at home versus Boston, and then you play them again at home a couple of days later. If you're able to take care of that, then the next home game is versus Portland, which it is your third game in 4 nights, and it's a back-to-back. But if the Magic can just come out of the gates hot, my hot take, again, this might come back, but the Magic are going to start the season at least 11-0. Now, they could go 12-0. They could go 13-0. But when I look at that schedule, like, I see a lot of games that the Magic should be favored in that stretch, and it gets me a little bit excited.
Wow.
Right out of the gates, 11-0. You'd be probably the number one team in the league. You would set the franchise record for consecutive, games won. Like, let's start this with a bang. Let's get crazy.
I don't have 11. I do have 7 though. I do have a starting 7-0, which would still get me very, very excited. But yeah, no, I again, it's a very winnable stretch. And look, the Magic, I mean, it's early in the season. What I just said about Atlanta can be true of us too. Like, we do have some new pieces, but we have a lot of continuity. And so it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how the team develops early. But again, they've got a really good runway to start the season with a lot of games that potentially could be wins.
And spoiler alert, when I went through and did like my individual win-loss, I did not pick us to start 11-0, but like the roadmap is there. Like, and then, hey, you go on the road, which might be like the biggest early season test. Your third game in 4 nights. Knicks are also third game in 4 nights, also a back-to-back for them. You're going into Madison Square Garden against, in a building that you've had some success, but you've also struggled mightily at times, especially offensively in that building. So the Magic come into that game 11-0 against the New York Knicks and get a win there. I know we're getting into silly season and we're excited, and I'm over-exaggerating and being a little bit ridiculous here, but we've got the schedule now, and I'm just kind of letting my mind, run kind of wild. Just looking at some of the other stretches here, we're not necessarily going to go, I think, game by game, but then you have a big home stretch going from the 18th of November to the 22nd of November, where you host the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Knicks.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's going to be a big stretch there.
Yeah, that's going to be very fun. Yeah, I mean, do you want to keep going through like the month by month stuff, or you want to pick out some of your highlights, lowlights? How you want to keep going through this?
Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to talk about next. Okay. I could go anywhere. Okay, well, you picked out that stretch there in November. I think if I were to kind of walk through some of this a little bit more, like you mentioned that road game there at MSG. So that, in theory, you're saying that's the first loss of the season for you, right? That's what you're saying. 11-0 till then. No, just because you start 11-0 doesn't mean you can't go 12-0. But like you're gonna lose games at some point, and that being maybe. In New York, and maybe we not. Might not. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that home stretch there, GSW, Clippers, Knicks, that's a tough one. November's a little bit of a mixed bag, is what I'll say. Like, there's some really good stuff for the Magic, some really tough stuff, and obviously the NBA Cup is the big one there. The last 2 games of November, the Sixers, the Pistons, we knew about those games on Wednesday, but those are NBA Cup games, both on the road, and honestly will likely decide the Group B. That's what we're in, Group B. I did want to say that Friday game, that Black Friday game against the Pistons, I don't know what Amazon Prime's policy is going to be about flexing, but I think there's a world in which both teams are 3-1 or 2-1. Or 3-0 or 2-1 going into that game, and winner of that game wins the group. Loser is out. It'd be cool to see Prime, flex that game. I think it's very possible that could be the situation, but I don't know if Prime is that are Fridays like the designated Prime nights? Not necessarily. The NBA Cup Fridays are the Prime things. That's while the NBA Cup is happening later in the season. So you're saying that right now, whoever else has that game, Prime could be like, yeah, we don't want to watch Toronto and whoever. Yeah, it's sure. The only national broadcast on Fridays for NBA Cup is Prime on NBA, right? Or NBA on Prime, yeah. So basically I don't remember the 2 games that they have, but yeah, they could in theory flex the Magic. Again, I don't know if that's written into the deal. We'll find that out, but that would be pretty interesting. Let's see. I wanted to know, what did I write down about that? Okay, never mind. That's gone. Yeah, so I think maybe some of the other really tough stretches that come out of that month of November going into December. We talked about it earlier, the big road trip after the NBA Cup. I did joke about this on Twitter. The NBA Cup final is there in mid-December,
And the Magic's first road trip out west, the NBA scheduled it right there too. So look, if the Magic happen to go to Vegas and happen to win it, it's just an easy flight from there to Denver to start off, this first West Coast road trip. But yeah, one thing you pointed out, Jonathan, this was very astute observation by you earlier. This West Coast trip starts in Denver, not ends in Denver, which it seems to always do every single year. A tough West Coast trip, you have to end it a mile up in the air in Denver, and sometimes they do it on a back-to-back for us. And instead, this year, we start in Denver, then Utah, Golden State. And look, if you're going to have a back-to-back out west, this year, having it be Portland is probably one of the better options, if not the best option for you. Not going to be easy, obviously. Tough place to play. Still going to be a scrappy team. And it's the third game of 4 nights and a back-to-back. But Portland as your back-to-back on the road, West Coast road trip, I'll take it.
We haven't really talked about this, but not many 10 p.m. games or 10 p.m. and later games this season. I think the count was at 4.
4.
Right? And then that last one being February 24th at 10:30 on the road against the Lakers. We don't even have a 9 o'clock tip after that point. So all of, March, April, May, and June, we're getting, I think the latest is 8:30? Yeah, 8:30.
In the finals,
Dallas Mavericks game.
And in the NBA
the
finals, they're
as
8:30.
well.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go to the chat. We haven't been to the chat in a few minutes. Let's see what everybody's up to. We got a lot of people voting for the shirts. I see a lot of whites, a few blues as well. That'll be fun. Let's see. Chris says, who's wearing Magic gear right now? Had to rock my Paolo jersey today to celebrate the schedule being released. You know it. Got the hats on. Of course, everyone loves Jonathan's hat. It's still very cool. Yeah, Jonathan's got the, is that the polo? I can't tell. Is that the polo? Yeah, it is the polo. Very cool. Jonathan Borges says, I'm getting to see the new jerseys in Puerto Rico. Hope I can get some new merch to talk. Did that break since we last recorded as well? We'll have to talk about that in just a second. Let's keep going through some of these messages here in the chat. Again, Sam is back. He says 55-27, 2 seed, baby. Wow, that'd be pretty sick. Chris says 60-22, a 60-win Orlando Magic team. It's never happened. That'd be pretty sick. Shelby says, will David and Jeff still do games on FanDuel? So there still will be local broadcasts, but one thing I do not know is how that interacts with, again, the new national TV schedule. One thing with the new national TV setup, there will no longer be local playoff broadcasts. So hearing David Steele call Orlando Magic games in the playoffs is over, which is tragic. That's hard to believe. So I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm guessing the games on NBC they won't be able to cover because it is over the air, just like the ABC games. But that's just speculation on my part. As far as Prime and Peacock and all that stuff, I have absolutely no idea. But we'll see if we can get some intel on that here soon. Let's see a couple more thoughts here from the chat. Ace says our final home game is the third to last game of the regular season versus Minnesota. That's right. That'll be fan appreciation night. And the Magic will have two more games on the road after that one as well. I'm Jovi says W start with 3 home games straight. Yeah, I should have looked this up. I really don't remember the last time that happened. I don't know if it's ever happened. I'm sure it has, but I don't remember the last time that has ever happened. Heck yeah says my only complaint is no NBC games at home and few of the national TV games at home. Otherwise, it's a good schedule with low back-to-backs, lots of good weekend home games early, and even a couple afternoon games. That's one thing we haven't talked about, that there are 10, or I guess we did kind of talk about it earlier, but 10 games that start earlier than 6 o'clock, and some of them are for very weird reasons. Jonathan, by the way, I didn't tell you this. One of those games, I did a little bit of research, if you will. One of those games is Sunday, January 11th at home against the Pelicans. That's a 3 p.m. tip-off, I believe. I also checked. The Memphis Grizzlies on that Sunday have a afternoon tip-off as well. And I realized I think it's to acclimate the players to playing at that time, maybe, potentially, because if you fast forward 72 hours later, they're going to be playing that same time slot, essentially, in Germany and then later in London. So I thought that was a little bit interesting.
Do they have another game before they leave for the trip?
No, that's the Sunday. Both teams play on that Sunday.
Maybe
in the afternoon.
Maybe it's for the travel.
Yes, that's the other part of it too. Yeah, because you're flying overnight typically. That way it doesn't mess with your schedule as well. So that's the other part of it too. Yeah. But yeah, I
So
thought that was
I'm
interesting.
on ESPN.com, and ESPN.com's regular season schedules go all the way back to the 02-03 season. So this, at the bare minimum, is like the first time in 23 years that we've had 3 games on the road to start this, or at home to start the season.
Wow. Love that. That'd be very, very sick. Let's see. Chris D says, if they go 11-0, does Luke go streaking? Probably does. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you have to. If
On
a
the
5-game
postgame
win
live.
streak, look, 5-game win streak takes off the shirt. You have another 5-game win streak on top of that. Something else has to go, right?
The pants.
Yeah, I think so.
And then if we beat his buddies New York Knicks to go 12-0, I think he's just got to go straight au natural.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
you're right. Kevin Anton says, I'm here for silly season. Welcome. Glad you're here with us for the silly season stuff. Janine says, hit the like button for our guys and our top 4 seed Magic squad. Thank you, Janine. That's a great reminder for everybody. If you're watching this live or watching it later, hit the like button. Definitely thank you for hanging out with us. If you're new around here, this is what we do. We talk about the Orlando Magic all year long. Doesn't matter if it's regular season, postseason, or off season. You know, you can count on us to be here to talk about our beloved Orlando Magic. Thank you, Janine. I appreciate that. Heck yeah, we haven't even talked about this. As early candidate for 6-man show group night, could see Cavs Saturday game in January or Bucks and Cole return first game in February. We haven't mentioned that yet. Cole Anthony and Gary Harris returning for 2 games in February with the Milwaukee Bucks. That'll be fun. But yeah, we haven't talked about the group night. We'll definitely have to talk through that and see what's available with the team. And we'll obviously let you guys know as soon as we come up with something.
Yeah, we've already got some questions from patrons about like the discount that our elite tier patrons get as part of that. That is still being set up. That's not up and running just yet. We're hoping to have that live shortly. Can't give you guys an exact estimation on that at this moment in time. But yeah, we're gonna sit down, talk with our guy from the Magic to find out. Group night, hopefully we're able to do another like Court of Dreams experience this year as well, where, before a Magic home game, we get to play pickup on the Kia Center floor, on that new floor with the new logo. Would be pretty sick. So we always announce that kind of stuff first to our patrons, and then after that we release it on the pod and kind of let that simmer for a few days before we then take it to social media, because we want the people that are like really diehard and really supporting us to get access to that kind of stuff first. So if you're interested in any of those kind of things, or you want to hear about watch parties or any other events throughout the season, number one, the best way to find out that kind of stuff is going to be as being a member of our Patreon, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And also like listening to, each and every episode. So
Really quick,
So
sorry. Really quick, I'm sorry. So
No.
the last thing I wanted to say really fast, one of the resident Orlando Magic historians, Adam Papagiorgio, is here, and he says, never in Magic history have we started a regular season with 3 straight home games. So that is confirmed.
crazy.
Pretty wild.
Thank you, Adam.
History
Good
in
to
the
see you,
making.
brother.
And hey, maybe this is the first of many historical things the Magic will have. And he also corrected me. Yes, the Magic, you're right, did win 60 games in 95-96. You're exactly right. I kept thinking about 59. They've won 59 twice, I'm pretty sure. But you're right, they did win 60 in 95-96. But yeah, first time, 3 home games to start the season. That's pretty exciting.
So next, I wanted to jump into what is usually like one of my favorite things to do at the schedule is like find like really like the toughest part of it.
Yeah.
And in previous years, like we would refer to it as like, oh, this is the gauntlet, right? Like, and usually it's, November through the middle of December, or the beginning of December through like the middle of January, that kind of stuff. This year, it kind of comes a little bit later into the season, like in February, like into March. So where I'm looking is like February 3rd, you're on the road at OKC. Then you have Brooklyn, Utah, which, those are dubs. You can just kind of chalk those up, both of those at home. Then you have the Bucks at home, You're on the road at the Kings, on the road against the Suns, on the road against the Clippers, on the road against the Lakers. You come home to play the Rockets, the Pistons, the Wizards, and the Mavericks. Then you go on the road against the Timberwolves and the Bucks. You come home for the Cavaliers and the Wizards. You head on the road for the Heat, the Hawks, and then you have the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Hornets, and then the Lakers, the Pacers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's basically all of February and most of March, where 2 out of every 3 nights, like you're playing a team that's going to be in playoff contention.
Yeah, that's a tough stretch. If I were to pick maybe a little more condensed section of the schedule that I think is pretty tough, it is actually one of the earlier stretches. If you go back to November, actually starting with that Knicks game that you mentioned, Knicks on the road that Wednesday, I think that's that is an ESPN game, Wednesday night on the road at MSG. That's a tough one. 3 and 4 nights for us. You got the Nets at home, that's whatever, but then it's Rockets on the road, Warriors, Clippers, Knicks at home, Celtics on the road, Sixers on the road. Again, those are 2 NBA Cup games, so who knows what can happen there. That one plus the Pistons game. I mean, those are the 2 Cup games that come after that. That stretch for me, a little more condensed than the one you're talking about. That's a span of exactly 2 weeks from that Knicks game it's 16 days. From the Knicks game on the 12th to that Pistons game on the 28th. That's a pretty tough stretch. A lot of really tough teams in there. A mix of home and road. But again, that's definitely the biggest test early in this season. I think we're going to know a lot about this Magic team after that.
Well, that stretch that I was just alluding to, that ends on the 24th of March. Mm-hmm. And then you have, another, 10, 11 games to close out the season. So, like, you have a little bit of a break in the middle of that for the All-Star break, but then you come out and depending on what the standings are looking like, there could still be a lot of movement in the Eastern Conference over that last month and a half stretch of the season, and then you end the year like Dallas, New Orleans, Detroit, Minnesota, the Bulls, and the Celtics. Those last couple we don't really not expecting a ton, definitely not out of the Bulls. But out of the Celtics, and we'll see kind of how, all that breaks down. But, usually we're talking about these kind of stretches of, hey, you just need to survive. And, in a lot of these instances, we should be able to win, 2 out of every 3 of these games, or at least be super competitive and, have a chance to win them in the closing minutes. It's just such a different feeling this year going through the schedule. And I know, we've talked about this on the pod at different times throughout the offseason, but I'm bring it on, man. I'm not the 5th game in 7 nights at home against OKC sucks because last 2 years we've gotten absolutely boat raced at home by OKC
on TNT.
On TNT, and it's hey, best case scenario right now is you're not expecting to sweep OKC, but best case scenario would be to split. You lose on the road, you win at home. We've got a road game, and then our home game, you're at a pretty, significant rest disadvantage there. They could still, obviously win that game, and I mean, not much is going to be more exciting than playing one of the best teams in the West in the last, 3.5, 4 weeks of the season, when you could be fighting for the 3, 2, or 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. That's going to be a massive game, and I expect Kia Center to be absolutely crazy for that game. But just looking at this schedule, we should be the ones striking fear into the hearts of our opponents rather than the other way around like it has been in previous years.
We are the one who knocks, that type of thing.
We are the ones who knock, dude.
That's right. Yeah. I
like that.
I mean, look, when it comes down to it, I'm with you. I am, but I still just need to see a few games. Give me a few games, maybe sure. Even preseason. Maybe by October, the end of the night, October 4th, after that game in Puerto Rico. Maybe I'll be convinced then. Yeah, I'll be convinced then. But yeah, I mean, how about that? The Magic announced on, what was that, Monday, Tuesday, something like that. The Magic announced that the Orlando Magic will be tipping off the preseason in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which I know is very exciting to a lot of Magic fans out there who are either from Puerto Rico, families from there. I think it's awesome. It's really exciting. Obviously, it's against Miami, so that is what it is. But that's going to be pretty cool. And like I've said this many times, this is now officially the Orlando Magic World Tour because they're starting off the season, going down, starting on an island. I mean, it's kind of part of America, right? It's one of those weird, things, territory, state, whatever. The argument will go on forever, right? But then you go overseas, Germany, England, and then, it's going to be pretty fun. But, yeah, what do you think about that announcement?
I think it's awesome. I'm trying to pull it up on NBA.com now. I don't know if that is considered a road game.
It's a Miami home game. Yes.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And even though Carlos Arroyo, didn't he end up playing for the Heat as well?
He played, for both teams, Miami and Orlando.
Yeah,
but
so
I think
I
I
have a
saw
feeling that's going to be a Miami home game, kind of home crowd there. But maybe we can change some minds.
I think I saw, this was unofficial, so don't quote me there, but I thought I saw someone mention that it's going to be almost like a home and home type thing where we play there. It's a Miami home game this year, but maybe it's next year, a couple years from now. I don't remember. The two teams play there again, but it's an Orlando home game. So kind of like college football style setup. But either way, this year it will be a Miami home game technically. But if our Twitter feed and all that kind of stuff is any indication, there will be plenty of Orlando Magic fans there.
The only thing that I'm a little bit upset about is it's in the same year that we're going to Europe, because had you and I not already be planning to be going to Europe, I'd love to go to Puerto Rico. Like my wife's family is from there, and it would be a great, just trip in general. I've personally never been. But yeah, I think it's going to be really dope. I'm hoping I'm assuming that game is going to be broadcast so we can watch it. It would be a real shame if it wasn't, like a lot of preseason games are. But no, I think that's awesome, and really looking forward to that. Sure.
It's going to be pretty hot opportunity there in Puerto Rico,
I don't.
No, so. I was trying to tee you up for Jam, because it's also hot,
Oh yes,
yeah. That was pretty good, right?
Let's talk about our friends over at Jam Hot Chicken. Jam Hot Chicken is proudly serving the city beautiful. Jam is a Nashville and LA inspired hot chicken shack, locally owned and operated in Winter Park, Florida, located over there. I forget the address. 400 West
New England
Avenue
Suite
over there
13.
in Hannibal Square, Suite 13. I don't have the ad read up in front of me. I was not prepared for you to kick the segue to me, but what I am prepared to do at all times is smash some Jam Hot Chicken, because it's truly the best hot chicken in Central Florida. The best that I've ever had. Every single time I go there, I'm blown away once again at just how good it is. All of our listeners and followers, anytime they have the opportunity to go there, we always get feedback of how good it is and how people think maybe we hyped it up a little bit too much, and then they have it and they're like, wait, you guys actually might not be hyping this enough. So if you guys are in the area, if you're local to Winter Park, you don't want to leave the house, you can even download Uber Eats and get it delivered straight to your house through the app. Head on over to jamhotchickenfl.com to find all things Jam Hot Chicken. A big shout out to our friends over at Jam. And if you stop by, let them know that their friends over at the 6-Man Show sent you. That was my worst Jam Hot Chicken read of all time.
Sorry,
but we
Jonathan.
love Jam Hot Chicken.
Man, I thought we were vibing. I thought we had the brainwaves locked in, and I was just like, throw it up. No, that's on me. I hung you out to dry there. But
no, you're
who
totally
doesn't hang
good.
us out to dry is our amazing people over at patreon.com/the6man show. Want to shout out today Jeremiah Quintero, Ryan from Sanford, Luis Rosario. I've seen a couple of you guys in the chat already. Bill Fulton, Jose Marrero. Those are 5 of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons who went to patreon.com/the6man show and checked out the different tiers that we have available and picked the one that is right for them. And Jonathan, I'm about to do a first, something we have never done in the history of the 6-Man Show. I'm going to shout out a brand new patron that signed up while we've been live here on the air. We got Neil Lucero, who signed up, I believe, at the elite tier. So shout out to Neil. That is something we do. Also, if there's ever a new patron, we shout them out on that episode when they are new. And so shout out to Neil. Thank you for joining our Patreon community. Again, our Patreon community, these are the people that financially support the show. They believe so much in what we do that they say, hey, I want to be a part of it. And so, yeah, big shout out to all of our patrons for supporting the show.
Neil heard about the discounts for elite tier patrons. You can get up to 35% off select Orlando Magic home games as part of our elite tier Patreon. So shout out. Really appreciate that.
And sorry, he's also just sent a DM like literally while this is happening. And I remember this guy. He says, been a fan for a minute now, but met you both at a couple of events, even stood in line for hours with Kevin at the first Duvin event, which that's how I remember you. Y'all deserve just as big of a season the boys about to have. Let's run it up. Love what you guys are doing for the Magic community. We moving different this year. We the ones knocking. Hey, look at that. Look at that. That must be the phrase this year. That must be the one. Shout out Neil.
What's his name? Is it Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad? If it wasn't for that guy suing us, maybe we would put that on a shirt, but he probably would send the good old cease and desist on that one.
For sure.
Okay, sure. Kevin, the moment that we have all been waiting for. First of all, let's get your predictions for the Magic's record down here in the chat. Would love to hear what you all think. But let's do predictions. Kevin was a little blindsided by this. Like, we're getting ready to record.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that we were going to do predictions." So he kind of had to speed through his. Just in case people are like, "Oh my gosh, what an idiot that Kevin! I can't believe he only thinks we're going to win that many games."
I'm pretty happy with where I landed, but
okay.
How do you want to do the whole?
You go first.
I'm saying, do you want to just do the whole record, or you want to kind of ease our way into it a little bit? How about this?
No.
I'll lead the way. I'll lead the way a little bit.
Let's do it.
I do have the Magic starting off very hot, not quite as hot as you. But on the whole, I have them starting 8, 9, 10, 11 and 2. So 11 and 2 to start the season. I mean, that's pretty advantageous. But again, given how the Magic schedule starts, I feel okay with it. Okay, 11 and 2. I have the Magic finishing 3-1 in their NBA Cup Group B. So I feel like that's probably going to be good enough to at least be tied for first. Obviously, it depends on tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff. I would be surprised if a team goes 4-0 in that group. If it's going to be anybody, I think it's going to be Orlando, but I'm not picking the Magic to do that.
Who do you have us losing to?
I have us losing that first one against Boston. That's how I go 7-0, losing that Friday, which we haven't talked about. I'm going to just quick side rant here really fast. That is the same weekend that the Tampa Bay Bucks host the New England Patriots. So this is what those New Englanders are going to do. Obviously, we have plenty that live in Central Florida, but the ones that live up in New England, they're going to be tired of the cold, wet, dreary November fall up there in New England, Massachusetts, all that stuff. They're going to be like, you know what? I want to go see my Celtics and my Pats. And so they're going to fly down to sunny, beautiful Central Florida. And they're going to see the Magic on Friday. And they're going to go to Raymond James and see the Patriots play the Bucks on Sunday. And so I'm picking the Magic to lose that Friday game.
2 losses in one weekend for those New Englanders.
That's I hope tough. So. I mean, honestly, 3, hopefully. Hopefully because it's 2 True. Home games against the Celtics that weekend. But either way. All right. That's a side rant. I've got us 3-1.
I have us losing to the Pistons. I have us going 3-1, but losing the last game.
Pistons. Gotcha. Okay.
It's in Detroit. So
right. That's very tough. Very tough. All right. Couple things I want to also point out. The Europe games, I have us winning both. Again, you do okay. A little advantageous. I will just go. If there's one prediction from this that I'm going to stand by, it's that Germany game. Like I've said it before on the show. Like I just can't envision us losing that. But I could be wrong. I just think the atmosphere is going to be electric. Very pro Orlando, obviously. And so if I had to pick one game in this whole schedule that we're going to win, I'm probably going to pick that one. Let's see.
Have quite a few beers at that game.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Anything else that I think is notable? I've got us. I've got us losing both games to OKC. I don't have us beating the defending champs once. I have us getting swept again. I think it's about it.
I refused. I went with a heart pick. We split it, road and home, but I couldn't not pick a win.
The 5-7 though at home. That's the one that hurt. No, that's the one that really hurt.
It's tough.
But if it was any other
team that can do it, it's a Jamal Mosley coach team, baby.
There you go. All right. So my total number came to 51. That's where I came. A blind run through of wins. Counted them all up at the end. I landed at 51. That's where I am. Now, do I think it could be a little higher? Yeah. Do I feel like that's probably a bit on the low end? Maybe. I have a hard time looking at the schedule and looking at this team and thinking that they will win less than 50 games. So I think 50 is the floor now in my mind, which is terrifying.
Okay.
But I ended up with 51.
Okay.
What are you at, 74?
I did not get to 51.
I know you didn't. I can't wait to hear this.
I was at a number and said, oh, this is way too high. And I had to redo it. And I got, and mind you all, look, this is only 80 games. There are going to be 2 more regular season games.
Right.
If they play an 83rd game, it doesn't technically count towards your schedule or towards your record. But, so there could be 2 more wins, technically, from what I have. I have the Magic going 57-23.
Wow.
57 wins.
And here's the thing. That's not that crazy. It's really not. I really don't think it is.
my first run through, I had us going 62-20.
With
So I had to go
games
back
missing.
and that's a little bit too much. Let's
Yeah.
get some losses in here.
Yeah.
And there's probably 3 or 4 other ones that I could be talked into, like 3 or 4 other losses that I could be talked into, like the OKC game, especially. The Bulls Celtics games at the end of the year might not matter to the Magic at all. So you never really know what's going to happen those last few games of the year. Minnesota, April 4th, it's your 3rd game in 4 nights. It's also their 5th game in 7 nights. That is a matchup that I think, whether it's home or away, really could go either way for the Magic. I have us winning both of the games against Milwaukee in February at home. You could, lose one of those. Like, this isn't the end all be all. Like, if I did this again right now, might even be a little bit different, but I really do believe that this team could encroach on being a 60-win team.
Yeah. And
If what we think they can be works out, and obviously the health and everything like that. But yeah, if you're anywhere from like 50 wins to 60 wins, like, okay, I can see a road for that happening.
yeah, 57 is not crazy, Jonathan. I was expecting worse. Like, I was kind of braced. Well, it sounds like you were there originally.
I was there, and I said, I can't make this public knowledge, even though I just did. But
right. No. Again, that's the thing. Like, 57, is it pushing it? Maybe. Like, a lot of things have to break well for the Magic to do that, but it's not impossible. It's not unheard of. It's not even unreasonable, I don't think, which is kind of crazy. So I'm with you. Anywhere in that 50 to 59 win range, I think is very possible. I mean, again, the higher you go, the little more unrealistic it is, but I think that's pretty cool. Did want to interrupt again. Since I made history earlier, I'm going to do it again. We got another patron who has signed up, and I know he's here because he was in the chat. Chris Dees has joined at our Hall of Fame. Wait, no. Yeah, our Hall of Fame. That's what that level is. Hall of Fame level. Shout out, Chris. Obviously, he's been in our post-game live chat many, many times, so big shout out to you for joining our Patreon community as well. Jonathan, a couple of things I wanted to ask you. What is your record out of this against some specific teams? So the first team I want to know, Miami. Can you just, a little Command F action and search your Miami games and tell me what your record against Miami is?
This is the thing. I wanted us to just sweep Miami, but like I had to go back and like try to find some losses. So let me pull this up here.
While you're doing that really fast, the reason I started with Miami was, I don't know if you remember last year, we did an episode where we gave like our 3 bold predictions or something like that for the season. And my bold prediction was we would sweep Miami. Okay. And I came really close to that. I don't know if you remember our 2 losses to Miami last year. One was a Tyler Hero buzzer beater with less than a second left, which that was just catastrophic. So you're literally less than a second away from winning that game. And the other one was the game that went to overtime. So you're literally a point away from sweeping the Miami Heat. And those games were in the midst of injuries too. So I felt very robbed and cheated of my bold prediction. But did you have us sweeping the Heat this season?
No, I don't. So the only one that I didn't give us was the last matchup of the year when we're on the road and they are rested and it's our 3rd game in 4 nights.
Yeah. I struggled with that one
that I gave them. But
I still did it. I still had us sweeping the Miami Heat. I feel less confident this year, but I feel like I'm owed it. It's due to me after last year. Okay, OKC, you said you're splitting with. Let's talk
about... You know what? I have something that's pretty shocking that I just noticed.
Okay.
How many instances do you have of the Magic losing multiple games in a row?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7.
I have 3 instances of the Magic having consecutive losses. That's probably not gonna.
What's your most consecutive losses?
At Phoenix, at Los Angeles, home for the Rockets. I have us losing 3 in a row there. That's my only instance of losing more than 2 games in a row this season.
I've got a 4-game losing streak, which is home to Dallas, that really tough road back-to-back, which we briefly mentioned, but I think that's maybe the toughest back-to-back of the year, at Minnesota, at Milwaukee, and then home to Cleveland. I have us losing all 4 of those. I don't know. Maybe at Atlanta, home to OKC is probably the toughest back-to-back because of the 5 and 7.
Yeah, that is pretty tough.
Outside of that, I think I only have I do have one 3-game losing streak, which is that stretch I talked about at the end of November. Clippers, Knicks at home, and then I have us losing at Boston as well. So that's a 3-game losing streak I picked. But
I have us losing on the road to New York and on the road to the Nuggets, the first game of that road trip.
Yeah.
And then I have us losing that Heat game and then the next game against the Hawks on the road. Because, again, I couldn't see us, like, I think you would be pretty happy to, like, split the season series against Atlanta. At best, 3-1. I just don't see you sweeping Atlanta.
No, I don't either. Let's see. Any other nuggets, well, no pun intended, from this part of the schedule, or at least our predictions? I'm trying to look and see.
What do you have as the biggest win streak of the season?
It's the first one. That 7-game win streak at the beginning. Do you have one longer than the beginning?
I don't even have one as long, funny enough.
Interesting. Okay.
I have us losing that first road game to the 76ers because it's a 3-4 for us.
Okay.
Which I really should have gone the other way and counted all of the 3+ rest games as losses for us because we know how bad this team is coming off of rest. But I have us going from early in the season at Detroit, at Charlotte, at Washington, at Atlanta, home for Boston, winning all 5 of those. And then I have, let's see, this is home for New Orleans. Yeah, home for New Orleans, home for Memphis. These are the Europe games, so they're really both, neutral site. So Pelicans, Grizzlies, Hornets, and the Cavs on the road. So I have us winning 5 games, 2 separate times, and then I have like another 3 or 4 4-game win streaks.
I have that exact same 5-game win streak, by the way.
I like it,
which is fun.
And then you have us losing the next game to Cleveland.
Yes. Yep. I have us winning the first one at home, losing the second one in Cleveland. Yeah, that's what I have as well.
Which that is also, funny enough, going to be part of the NBA rivalries week.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they put Charlotte in there because that's never been a rivalry.
Yeah, they did this last year, maybe the year before. They say it's Rivals Week, but they really only do the nationally televised games as the Rivals Week. Like sometimes they'll throw a couple random ones in there, but I guess because we are division opponents, maybe that's their justification for that. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Let's check out the chat here for a couple more here. We got some record predictions, just like you asked. We also have a lot of shout outs for Neil and shout outs for Chris Dees for joining our Patreon, which we agree. Big shout out to them. Some people giving Jonathan a little bit of a hard time for the jam read. Nope, I take full responsibility for that because I hung him out to dry there.
What are they saying specifically?
Specifically, Ace the Baller says, dang, John. L ad read. Evan Joseph says LMAO. Was talking about the ad read as well. Got a couple LOLs. Where'd it go? I'm Jovi says fail. So that's what they. But they were all joking.
To make up for it, let me just tell you once again. Go to Jam Hot Chicken, get the box, add the cheddar mac and cheese. Do yourself a favor, get an extra side of pickles because this is not hyperbole. Jam Hot Chicken has the best pickles that I have ever had. If you're a pickle fan, pause. They legitimately have the best pickles that I've ever had. The freshest, they're seasoned the best. They're just like the right amount of like vinegar-y. I don't really know the best way to describe that.
House made, by the way. Made all
house
there.
Made.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then you just mix all of that together in the box, and every bite is out of this world. So be sure to do that.
All right, we got some record predictions here. Mr. J says 55-27. Mess says starting 10-0, not joking.
Love it.
Janine says 52-30. I'm Jovi says 55. Ace says I'll be humble and say 50. Look, I respect that. I respect
humility.
I respect starting low, and then you're pleasantly surprised if you go beyond that. I absolutely respect that. David says 57, right there with you, Jonathan. Mess says Joe Prunty, underrated pickup. Absolutely. We talked about him. When was that hire? It's been almost a couple months now, I guess. But yeah, hopefully is a very big pickup for the Magic and for this offense. Luis Rosario says 57-25. Second best record in team history. Is that the second best record? We won 59. Well, I think it might be. I'm not sure.
Sorry.
I'm Jovi says smashing more than 50, no doubt. If not, it's a fail of a season. K Dizzy says 56. Kevin Anton says 55. Ryan Singh 52. Jonathan Borges 56. This is an interesting one. Luis Rosario says, I want to break an old school record, which is going 47 straight home wins. I was there when it happened the first time and ready for it to happen again. That was one of the wildest streaks in NBA history of any kind. Feels these days impossible to replicate. But look, I'm never going to say never because that would be electric. Gabriel says, I booked flights to Berlin for January 2, hoping to see you guys and other Magic fans in Germany. You will see us there. Very excited about that. Duval says Boston is going to be different without Tatum. Yeah, I mean, Boston, very interesting. They ended up with, I think, 25 or 24 nationally televised games without Jason Tatum, without Kristaps Porzingis, without, I mean, go on down the list. Drew Holiday, yeah. I mean, whatever. I know they're a big brand.
I think without Al Horford.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're a big brand, but like, I don't know. We'll see. Ace the Baller says, from what I'm hearing from my fellow Magic Maniacs and our lovely host, we have a floor of 50 and 57 is our ceiling.
57 is not the ceiling.
I don't think it's the ceiling. That's the scary part.
I think like 62 is the ceiling.
62. I don't know.
Like that's that. We're talking the best of the best case scenario. Health. Everybody does the things that they need to do. The shooting works out. The spacing works out. Everybody has their best season. Like that's what we're talking about. You come to me from the future and you say the Magic went 63-19. You want to talk about streaking? I'll be naked faster than you can say Orlando Magic.
Oh gosh, careful, because there's a chance we do that. Chris D says, I'm at the cool kids table now. Heck yeah, welcome aboard. Sammy Bear says, hello from Tasmania, Australia. Is that our first Tasmania viewer? I don't remember anyone in the chat or in our comments ever saying Tasmania. So welcome. That's pretty cool. We've had plenty of people tune in from Australia. I haven't heard anyone specifically from Tasmania, so welcome, Sammy Bear. Matt Browning says, can we get some good officiating now that we were a recognized good team? Now, that is far-fetched, Matt, unfortunately.
That's not happening.
That would be very surprising. I hope I'm wrong.
Shout out to Matt Browning, chat legend.
I am Matt Browning. I would be very surprised. I think winning 63 games is more likely than getting good officiating, but we'll see. But yeah, Ace and Janine say 62. That's wild, and the league's not ready. We'll see. Lots of good predictions there in the chat.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't really have anything else for the schedule. I mean, you and I, privately and now publicly, we've been talking about this for the last 6 hours.
Yep.
I think we've kind of hit it all.
I've got one more thing.
We haven't gone through the games, every single game individually, but I think we went through the highlights of the season, and the next thing that I'm looking forward to is getting the Locker Vision schedule and see where we're seeing these jerseys.
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
Let's say you can only attend one game this season. Get rid of the Europe games. I'm talking the home games, the home schedule.
It's going to be Berlin.
Oh, no. Talking the home schedule exclusively. There's one game. Yeah. What is the one game on the schedule that you're like, I'm there. I'm just there. Have you thought about that?
For me, we can exclude opening night.
Sure, if you want. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, this is going to be my wife and I's 13th straight home opener. So, for
it's
me,
just a default.
It would be that.
Right.
Outside of that, it's going to be February 9th, Milwaukee Bucks.
The Cole game and the Gary game, the Gary return game.
I mean, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's that one just because I know it's going to be emotional and some people are going to think that's really stupid, but that's the kind of stuff. That's why at the end of the day, I like sports.
Right.
Because of the people and the stories and everything like that.
Right. Yeah, that one was at the time. It might be. I was trying to think of one because that was originally going to be my answer, but I'm trying to find a different one, and I don't know. I mean, I would include opening night for me just because it's not necessarily something I do every year, so that is a big one. Outside of that, I mean, I love playing.
This opening night should be much better than your last opening night.
Yeah, the last opening night, I'm pretty sure the last time I went to was 2021 against the Knicks, which was truly one of my least favorite sports experiences.
Worst games I've ever been at.
Awful. And we also sat in the corner with the Knicks fans by the Knicks bench, which was an L on our part, but that was brutal. I'm probably going to, I don't know, maybe one of these home ESPN games. If we had a home NBC game, that would be really exciting, but probably this home game against the Cavs in March on ESPN, that has my interest a little bit.
I'm pumped for that NBC game against Atlanta.
I am too. I'm so fired up.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be awesome. And again, it's so early in the season, like 3, 6. That's our 8th game. Wait, is that right? 1, 2, 3.
It's our 8th game.
5, 6. That's crazy. 8 games into the season. Less than 2 weeks into the season, we're going to be on NBC on prime time, 8 o'clock.
Can we talk about how lucky that like coverage team is going to be getting to watch the Magic and probably have No Mas Cantina in the same day?
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable, this guy. Unreal. Yes, they're going to be so lucky. It's going to be great. They're going to love it.
And they'll if they walk from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium to that restaurant, they'll also probably see a dead rat on the sidewalk.
Probably.
Like you
See
and
him
I
everywhere.
did. Making that walk.
Classic Atlanta. Yeah. I honestly, there are some road games that I'm maybe equally as excited for, like the MSG games. The noon game at MSG, that's a wacky one, but that's kind of exciting. Yeah. So I don't know. All in all, very exciting. Lots of great games. And
the other one that I have
yeah.
is going to be that March 17th at home versus OKC.
Yeah.
I want that one in the worst way, man.
Yeah. That'd be really special to
we're
figure
due
out a way.
A get back game against those guys.
I hope so.
And
I hope
you're right. The defending champs coming into town, like, will be really sick to have that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited, man. I'm so glad this is here. Can finally figure out what our year is going to look like personally and, with the podcast. And it's going to be really fun. I'm excited.
That's always kind of like an underrated part of this. Oh my gosh. This can't be right because I don't know how many teams like already have their tickets like on sale. Mm-hmm. But right now ESPN has that November 4th game at Atlanta that's going to be on NBC. Tickets as low as $390.
No one has their tickets on sale yet.
That's absolutely crazy. Yeah. Let's see how bad it is in New Orleans because last year you could literally get in the door for like $1.50.
Yeah, at New
Orleans right now it says as low as 18.
Yeah, that'll get even lower.
It will, unfortunately. Yeah, it really will, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, the in chronological order, these are the national TV games at Atlanta, November 4th on NBC and Peacock, November 12th at New York on ESPN, November 25th at Philadelphia on NBC and Peacock, December 1st home against Chicago on Peacock, and then January 15th and 18th on Prime Video. Those are going to be the Europe games. January 26th at Cleveland on Peacock. February 9th, the home game versus Milwaukee, the one we were just talking about, that will be on Peacock as well. February 26th, home for Houston, that's going to be on Prime. Saturday, March 7th at Minnesota on Prime Video. March 11th versus Cleveland, that'll be on ESPN. March 16th at Atlanta, that will be on Peacock. March 24th at Cleveland, that will be on NBC and Peacock. And a lot of, what do we have? Is it 2 or, we have 3 nationally televised games versus Atlanta this year.
Yeah.
You close out the year, the last one's going to be April 1st at home versus Atlanta on ESPN.
Yeah. I'm just now realizing those 2 NBC games early in the season, we're going to be on NBC 2 out of 4 Tuesdays. Like we're just living on NBC in that first month. I mean, kind of joking, but
I like it.
That's pretty crazy. Heck yeah, 03. This is a very good point. I meant to mention this earlier in the show. Magic single game tickets do go on sale Friday. Tomorrow, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this on Friday, it's today. 1 p.m. is when the public sale officially happens. So here's what I'm going to say. If there is like a Magic game or 2 or 3 games that you're super interested in, tomorrow or Friday is the day to get them because here's the thing. With how good this team is projected to be, I do expect many, many sellouts. And what sellouts mean is the second market, the third party market goes crazy, right? Ticket resale prices go crazy. The cheapest you are going to get them is tomorrow, is Friday, August 15th. And so if there are games that you're interested in, I know a couple people in our Discord were circling the Lakers game because this very well could be LeBron's last season and they want to see LeBron play in person. Heads up, you're going to get in line. There's thousands of other people that have that exact same mentality. And so if you think I'm just going to wait and see, how LeBron is health-wise or how good the Magic are, you could be making a very costly mistake because if the Magic are good and if LeBron plays, those tickets are going to be several $100s, and tomorrow you can get them for not that. So I that's just my recommendation. I'm not saying go buy 20 games tomorrow, but I am saying if there's 1 or 2 games that you're really, really, really interested in, Friday at 1 p.m., great time to do that and try to beat out those scalpers. That'd be great.
Yeah. And hey, if there is a pre-sale or anything like that tomorrow, and if it's labeled the 6-man pre-sale, please know that we don't have anything to do with it.
That's right.
Because we've seen that a few times over the course of the last couple of seasons, and every time we get accused of gatekeeping and not helping people and all that kind of stuff. Right. So if the Magic want to reach out and help us promote that, we would love to. But as of right now, we have nothing to do with that. 6th man just refers to the Orlando Magic fan base, okay? That's why there's a beer about it. That's not related to us. That's why there's a banner hanging up in Kia Center. That banner is not for Jonathan or me. Let's just be very clear. No. That is for the Orlando Magic fan community, is the 6th man, which is why we're called the 6th man show. Yeah. And so, not related to us, but definitely go get your tickets on Friday if you want. Okay. Anything in the chat that we want to bring up before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. A lot of people talking about different games and tickets they want to get. And heck yeah, with that really good reminder, again, tomorrow, Friday, if you're listening to this, 1 p.m., tickets go on sale, and you definitely want to grab if there's 1 or 2 games you're interested in.
Let's just get to the freaking season now, man. I legitimately cannot wait.
Absolutely.
Let's do that. That is going to do it for this one. Appreciate all you tuning in. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to the 6-Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the 6th Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at 6th Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!